So, first of all, congratulations on Dying for Sex. It was so incredibly powerful, so touching, so moving. How are you feeling about the success of the show and the response to it?
What a relief.
Yeah. Wow. I feel very like glowy about it. I feel happy. I feel happy for every single person who worked on it.
Yeah.
I feel happy for Nikki and Molly, the real people. I feel happy.
Same, same.
And also relief, of course, when you do something you really care about that's like, a little bit of a tightrope. It's a big relief.
Michelle, how about you?
Yeah, relief first, that kind of, when you let something out, you truly have no idea how it's going to be received, and your experience of making it doesn't always correlate to an audience's desire to see it, and which is why you have to really have your own goals for yourself in mind, because you can't control or predict or even plan for an outcome. So you really have to be comfortable with what you personally take away from it, and your personal experience in making it. I'm very much like focused on, because you can't control how it's received, but what you can try and pay attention to is the experience of 120 people that are united for a finite period of time towards a common goal. You can try and have some safeguards in that experience. So in order to control my anxiety about how it's going to be received, I really just try and focus on, how is this workplace for 120 people? Do they feel safe? Do they feel respected? Do they feel like their voices are heard? Do they feel included? Are they well fed? Are they rested? Are they getting their needs met? So that's kind of like where I focus. And then when something like this happens, I just like breathe a huge sigh of relief and then just walk in gratitude.
It felt watching the show that, and I know it's just acting, but the two of you are best friends in real life. How did you create that
It did roll over into like real life, that we luckily do enjoy each other very much and became real friends. But
How did you create that chemistry? Was it instantaneous?
Totally.
it kind of, yeah, it was. It's weird to say it because, of course, we had to learn about each other and learn our lines and prepare our scenes. But that crackle of connection was there, which is really, yeah, it exciting and wonderful.
It's so integral to the show that we really have to believe in this friendship between the two of them.
Yes, it's everything.
It's everything. Yeah. But when we first met and like Jenny walked out of the room, there was no conversation. Like it really was love at first sight. There was chemistry and kismet and karma, like all rolled up into one, and that was it. We were going to be together forever in these roles, and on these these screen versions of these people. And now like our children are going to go to school together next year. So, it all continues. So yeah, but it was something that we just thought, okay, well, we have this, and now this is the place that we build from. But it wasn't about like trying to find ways to connect with each other.
Yeah, we really went into something. Although when I left the room, I was like, was that what I think it was? I mean, I didn't know yet whether or not I would like. Felt like when Anne of Green Gables is like put on trial and she doesn't know if she'll get to stay. I don't know. I just watched that with my daughter. Probably not a great example.
What did it mean to you to see that representation of female friendship on screen? I mean, these two really go through an incredible journey together, and they're each other's person.
I think we both come from that experience and our own best friendships that have felt like our people, our A storylines, and I think, what it really speaks to is like how passionate female friendship really is, and that it's much more of a love relationship than a friend relationship. It's not a casual thing. It's like a life-sustaining thing, and we both come to it from our own best friendships, and we know what those have meant to us over the years. And so to see this brought out and made central in a storyline was something that we had both had experience with and both wanted to sort of make larger.
The ease of being beloved, like with a best friend, like not questioning that, like maybe wanting to know what they see, or maybe wishing that you could always feel in yourself the way they feel about you. Like, I think that's very specific to, I know I feel it with my best friend in my life. I think it's really important again and again to show ways of being beloved and primary with someone else that don't have to do with anything but like allowing the most intimacy and the most change possible. It's just like such a lovely thing to put at the center of a story, and it felt so good to be in that pair in our scenes.
Given that your characters were based on real people, how much responsibility did you feel to do them justice?
All complete. It was, I think, light on its feet responsibility. I think the energy of Molly and Nikki on the page and in their podcast, and from what I think both of us understand about what they were like when they were together in life, is like, yes, of course, there are things in life that are threatening and final, they're not changeable, but within a situation that might be going on, like Molly's track is that she's on a terminal track in terms of her life, but within every inch of it is a moment for as many like bubbles of life and change and newness as there can be. Just because there's a destination, like, doesn't mean that the way they get there is in itself like static or clogged. And I really felt that we were rolling with that as well.
I would imagine you listened to the podcast. What did you take away from it?
I did. I listened to it a couple of times, and well, at first I just wasn't entirely sure why this thing was affecting me in the way that it was. I didn't know what kind of spell it had over me and why I could not even like speak about the relationship between these two women without crying. And I was like, what has happened to me? What have they done to me? And that's really why I wanted to make the show. I was like, I have to figure out what this like emotional core is that's affecting me, that's affecting Jenny, that's affecting Liz and Kim, and maybe it's just the four of us. But then, like, when Rob signed on, I was like, well, it's affecting Rob.
Yeah.
And then Jay, and I was like, well, it's affecting Jay.
Yeah.
I was like, well, maybe we're just like a handful of weirdos that think this is right on. And turns out, like, we're all a handful of weirdos because the show is having this miraculous reach.
Yeah. Yeah, I listened to it a little bit before I went in for my chemistry read. Then I got a little bit nervous about psyching myself out. That was also before I met the real Nikki. And I was like, oh, I should probably just focus on this script and the performance at hand. And then once we were enough into filming, I started to, and after I'd met Nikki, I started to listen to it. And just got really excited about the, like, I felt like there was like a live energy installed in the podcast. And I felt really excited that whatever we were spinning between us also felt that it had its own liveness, its own thing. It was like really vital. And I do feel like it's exciting to see people respond to that they feel that little pulse or zap when they watch it.
What conversations did you have with the real Nikki? What did you want to ask her, and what did you take away from those conversations?
I wanted to ask her when I felt comfortable, which was honestly pretty soon, because Nikki really is very warm. She's giving, she's an open book. She doesn't appear to be scared to speak about her experiences. Like, she's very respectful, but she's not like, oh, I don't want to say something sad to you in case it will make you sad. I think she has a lot of respect for her own sort of like wide variety of experiences. But I asked her about how her grief felt when we started. It was the 5-year anniversary of Molly's passing, which in adulthood, you realize 5 years is not long. My daughter's 4.5. That time went by in no time, and I'm still working through feelings about like having her. It all feels so new. And she told me that, and suddenly I realized, like, oh right, a lot has happened in that this show has been written and we've been cast and we've got our set, but like this is, in the grand scheme of things, not a long time. And she shared what it feels like for her, and that it was kind of a waveform. Like some days, you know, she just feels Molly's spirit with her, and she feels they're always like together, that they're always with each other. And some days she said she does feel more of like a sinking of sadness, you know, the weight of it. And I asked her a lot about how she expresses anger, because I do express anger in like a more weird, repressed, withered way than in my life than Nikki on our show does.
Michelle, did you have any conversations with Nikki?
Yeah, we did, but it was, you know, she was, it's so hard to get anything made ever. And so I think we were all kind of like warming our hands by the fire of this unlikely gathering. And it was really a space of allowing, trust, sharing, collaboration. It was not a, here's how it was, sit down and let me tell you a story, like listen to me and do as I'd say. It was just an honoring. It was like an honoring of these two women and their friendship, an honoring of how each of them took care of each other, supported each other, an honoring of this group of mostly women coming together, being given this opportunity to make something in a place, at a studio, in this moment in history. It's like, it feels, when you're on a set and you look around and you see this many women, you're like, it's hard to get here. It's hard to get here.
Yeah.
And to be given leadership. And so I think we were all in like deep regard for this space that had opened up for all of us to collaborate and be our best selves at work.
Talk about working with Liz and Kim. I had a great conversation with them about how they found the right tone for this. How did you work with them to find the right tone?
You know, I kept asking them that. So what's the tone? What's the tone? What world am I inhabiting? How do I fit into this? And then I realized, like, oh, the tone is Liz. Like, it's Liz's tone. It's
Just
Liz's
watch her.
sensibility.
Yeah,
Just
watch her walk around and say stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a funny combination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the tone is sometimes atonal. The tone is sometimes not harmonious. The tone is a clash. Don't be afraid of clanging.
Yeah.
That sometimes life makes, when you're like, it's not possible for all these things to be happening at once. That's lifelike.
Yes. And you know what is like so interesting to me in learning a bit more about Liz was like she and Kim both came from theater, like they're playwrights to start. And I think you can see that in a lot of, especially like when you get farther into Dying for Sex, and Molly is unlinking. Yeah. Like it gets just so much more dreamy, theatrical. It has the comedy of people who really understand how to write like hard, great, good jokes. And then also people who come from environments where like it pays off to be experimental and like admitting that we all have a psyche. And that it's like, it's really, really driving the rig. Yeah. But to flying peanuts,
flying peanuts. I know that was really a moment for me when that script came in, because you don't have all those scripts when you sign on. So it's a lot of like surprise. They're like, another script is landed, and you're like, wow, I wonder what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
And when I got flying penises, I was like,
it's
you
like
know what?
Penis detaches and flies with a small wing. Like I just was like, hell yeah, man. Yeah.
I know. I was like, no, this was the right shit for me.
Yeah. It was wild. Like it really is wild. And like
wild.
Michelle's dance, you know, like when Molly really finally feels her own forgiveness and power and everything else moving through her, and that becomes so physical. And Michelle, like that dance is so incredible. That is not, in my opinion, normal for TV. I have never seen that before, ever. And Michelle is one of the performers, as a fan, that I know will offer me something new that I haven't seen, and why I've always been eager to watch her work. But I actually got to sit there and watch that. And I got to read the script where that was in there. And I just was like, these people they are really, really letting this get free. And it was so cool. I do wish
You
we
watched
could
some
go
really
back.
bad dancing too.
So did you do. I mean, I did some dance.
We had to do some dancing.
Yeah.
Your dance was always.
I don't think I saw any bad
was
dancing.
amazing.
We're not going to let each other
do that.
say that we did bad. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I can't abide.
What was the most challenging scene for each of you to do? I mean, each of you sort of get put through your paces on this. I mean, it's a whole emotional journey. What was the hardest for you?
For me, it would be when Michelle just said something so beautiful earlier, where like in performance, if you're doing it right, I'm paraphrasing, and she said it better, but that you will feel pain, but it will move through you, and it moves through and out. And I understand that, and that's what I think one would hope for. There were moments where I felt I would really have to focus on controlling what was either like my fear or deep sadness. I was really afraid when in the scene where Molly is intubated, I just as myself really was uncomfortable with the medical equipment, really. And I as much as I could put that into the performance, but I remember feeling like almost queasy to have to do it and just gotta go. And then in the scene where Molly is reading her notebook to Nikki in the bathroom, that story is, first of all, a true story, and not just true for Molly, but for so many people. And I find it to be very hard, very, very hard. And in the scene, you need your levels, you need nuance. And if I could choose, I would cry much louder and leave. It was terrible, and it was so beautifully read. And we needed quiet in that small bathroom. And I knew what the ending of the scene was, and I'm so grateful for that scene. It's one of my favorite performances I've been able to be a part of, but it did like break my heart a bit.
Everything that happens is like kind of coming from that scene, is like coming from that place, from that story, like
yeah.
And so all of the scenes feel like they carry the seed of that, which feels what it does. And I don't know, like some of these things, it's like some of these projects you just look at and you're like, there's not really like an easy day,
or
like a little bit in the middle or something. You're just kind of like, oh,
lots of really
lots of tuition.
Yeah, like beautiful, fun, worth it, filled with energy days, but no easy ones.
But I think also the excitement, because like these scripts would just come in.
Oh my
you
God.
Kind of couldn't believe your eyes. Like,
Yeah.
We knew maybe like 2 or 3 episodes what was in store for us, but we didn't have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
And these scripts come in and they are what they are. They are what we think they are.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I'm going to do it. It's so cool.
It's such an exciting feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Then I'll give you a chance to compliment each other. Michelle, what was the scene of Jenny's that you think she just really nailed it? And then the same, Jenny, say that for Michelle.
It would be impossible. It's everything. Like, it's everything. It's because and also it's not just everything that you see. It's everything that you don't see. It's every single take, and they only use one. But that doesn't mean that there was only one good one or like one crackling one. There's just a lot of different ones, and this is the one that they chose to like service the flow of the entire piece. But when you're like really in the ring with somebody or the space with somebody, and but the other thing I would say is like, I don't think that we were ever in a place where we were watching each other. Like we were never like afterwards like, hey, I saw you in there and that was good, because that would indicate that there were things that we had been watching that were not good.
Right. You're gesturing at something else.
Yeah. So I could never say like, oh, Jenny, you're really good. Like it was every moment of every take of every scene, full commitment, full absorption, full integrity, full brain, full wit, full heart. You're just watching it. It's like an onslaught of talent and commitment and bravery, and that's unwavering. So I couldn't pick, nor was I ever in a like observing like that. We were just like
Well,
Sharing is
the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. And I'm so glad it was filmed.
I have it on record.
There's record. It could go in the Library of Congress or wherever anyone would like. I will say I didn't get to see it on the day, but in watching, like, the sequence of Molly's different orgasms and the like surprise, exhaustion, shock, like just the Michelle, like the physical comedy was just like, oh, it reminded me of like why I first wanted to see comedy and do it. Like I just was like, I've never seen that before. It was so refreshing and funny. And I laughed so hard and loudly. And I just remember being like, whoa, I've never seen that before. I've never seen it from this performer. I've never seen it kind of in general. These orgasms are crazy. They're so funny. And like to see a character react to her own sort of like her own expressions of pleasure, but like shock. I just that is it. It is like a master class in orgasms.
There's so much in the show. I mean, it's about sex, it's about the abuse, it's about cancer, it's about friendship. What do you want audiences to take away from it, or is it all of the above?
I guess what I've thought a lot about during filming and since is my own fear of stasis, and that I've felt very threatened by the idea that, like, you know, what if something happens to me that's either too good or too bad, and I don't change anymore because I'm clinging to something that's already occurred. And that fear just used to kind of mess with me. It didn't really have a greater function, and that is upsetting in itself. And I think that what Michelle performed so beautifully is Molly's really difficult decision to even admit to like a wall or a stopping point or stasis, and how gratifying it is to take oneself through and reject the idea that something gigantic that happens to a person, negative or positive, is so large that it would block the entryway to any more change or progress. And I guess I want people to be excited about identifying what might be a stopping point or a definition that is it sort of entombing them in a way. Yeah. And to decide to bust out if they want to. I know I've thought about it a lot.
Damn. We have to end on that.